Hello everybody and welcome once again to my series Journey to Jool, where I will finally try to reach the Jool system to start my mission to visit all of the 5 moons of the Jool system. If this journey would have been done in real time, this would probably be one of the longest YouTube videos in the history of YouTube videos, because, as some of you may know, the journey to Jool takes 3 years inside of the game. So here we are setting up the new maneuver node, we're activating Kerbal Alarm Clock, and we start the disco. Yeah, enough of that. Of course, I time accelerated the video so you don't have to watch all of that in real time, and we're ready for our maneuver node, which we now have to plan again, because thanks to the game's mechanics, if you set up a maneuver node way into the future, it's kind of messed up and you have to do it again sometimes. And now we've got our Jool encounter and we've got an apoapis, which is quite manageable. And once again we set up Kerbal Alarm Clock, and we're going to make our burn after the alarm runs out. And we're setting up for the execution of the node, bringing the spaceship, which has been filled to the brim with delicious liquid fuel and oxidizer in the previous episode. And then we're going to burn a lot of that. Fire! Da, 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 fire! Yeah, never mind me trying to sing here, I know it's bad. And here we are on the dark side of the planet. We have still managed to optimize our rendezvous with Jool and move the periapse even closer, which is good because we want to try to aero brake once we enter the Jool systems. And we activated our mighty K2 Carbonine engines, and we're going very fast outside of our current orbit. Those Carbonine engines are quite fascinating because they have a great specific impulse, even though they're so big and so powerful. They don't have, once I put together a craft and I tried it with the 2 mainsails, and I tried to build it with 2 of those Carbonine engines, and the Carbonine engines were actually more efficient than the mainsails, at least on that kind of craft. And here we are on our final approach, on our final fine-tuning of our encounter to the Jool system. Of course, as experienced players know, no encounter will really end up like you plan it, because if you set it up for 100,000 kilometers, once you're really into the encounter, it's kind of a little bit closer or a little bit more far away. I'm pretty sure there's a system to that, or some kind of mechanic, or very other smart people who have already figured out how that works. Unfortunately, I haven't. I concentrate on building huge rockets and getting them into space. And now, once again, we have to wait a lot of time until we get there. As I mentioned before, more than 3 years to be exact. And here we see our big spacecraft, the Joolishka, leave the Kerbin system. Goodbye, you big, beautiful blue planet. You have served us well, even if you don't have any cities or farms or other features on your landscape besides 3 airports. Well, space centers to be exact. And our brave crew of 5 are going outside of the system, and we're heading to the Jool system. You see Commander Jebediah Kerman playing around with the onboard computers, setting up his displays just fine so he has all the necessary information at his disposal. The other crew members are Roni Kerman, Dumor Kerman, Fermal Kerman, and Bob Kerman. And here we see Dumor Kerman enjoying the journey very much, while Bob Kerman, the veteran, of course, sits stone-faced and unfazed in his seat. And here we are almost up to our encounter, and we're already trying to spot Jool in the distance, but we can't because it's still too small and my eyes are too bad. And here we go, we have our Jool encounter. Now we have to set up our periaps a little bit closer so we actually get into the atmosphere of the big green giant and manage to do an aerobrake. But alas, we have a little bit of a problem, as you will see in a few seconds, because I managed to get into the Jool system on a trajectory where I get a lathe encounter. And as I said before, you can't really plan that well with encounters, because once you are in the encounter, it's almost always completely different than what you expect it to be. At least that's the case with my installation of Kerbal Space Program. If yours behaves differently or you have a solution for that, please let me know in the comments. I'm dying to know. And you can see me trying to fiddle around with the maneuver node to get a decent periaps for aerobraking. Will I make it, or will the spaceship crash into the biggest planet in the Kerbal system? Or will we slingshot outside of the Jool system? Or will we crash into yet another moon of this planetary subsystem? We will find out very shortly, because when I finally am able to set up an aerobrake node and circularize my orbit inside the system, you will see in the next episode that a lot of strange and sometimes quite curious things will happen. See you next time. Goodbye.